By shooting and killing a black teenager, did a group of Black Lives Matter protesters mirror the kind of crime they were protesting against? That teenager was Antonio Mays Jr. 6 years later, the case is still unsolved. In 2020, Antonio left his home in Southern California to join the racial justice protests in Seattle after George Floyd was killed. In a letter to his dad, the 16-year-old wrote, "With everything that is going on in the world, I have been feeling this need to partake and stand up for our people." Less than a week after he arrived, he was killed in a shooting that likely involved armed protesters. Here, on the corner of 11th and Pine, is where it all started. This is where protesters and police were in a bloody standoff, one that ended with police abandoning their precinct right up here. Once police retreated, protesters set up the Capitol Hill Occupied Protest, CHOP. Speeches and music out in the sun, people giving away free food and supplies. Felt like a block party. But the experiment was fragile. Protesters worried about political violence. Some of them brought guns and volunteered as security. And then, over the course of 3 weeks, this utopian experiment fell apart. Homelessness, partiers, and crime. Antonio arrived in the middle of all that.
The police, their purpose is to serve and protect, right?
Yes.
And we agree with their purpose, but we do not agree with them because of what they've been doing. They have not been serving and protecting, actually been harassing and confusing.
Harassing and murdering.
Just days later, he was dead. A lot of protesters have maintained that CHOP security shot Antonio in self-defense. He and another teenager were driving erratically in a stolen white Jeep, and some of the people there say the boys were shooting. We talked to almost 100 people and looked at hundreds of hours of footage and found no evidence that any gunshots came from the Jeep Antonio was in. What we did find were other witnesses who say they saw someone executing Antonio after the Jeep had crashed, private messages pointing to a suspect, and many more details that changed our understanding of what happened.
I don't know. More shots fired, more shots fired. More shots fired, more shots fired.
The shooter or shooters have never been held accountable, even though there were dozens of people standing right there. It's like there's been a wall of silence from protesters and a reluctance to look closely at this by the city itself. CHOP was dismantled right after this killing, but the mystery around Antonio's death points to what happens when the people in charge and the people demanding change seem to decide that protecting themselves is more important than their responsibility to anyone else. To hear what we uncovered, you can listen to the new season of NPR's Embedded podcast, We Keep Us Safe, wherever you get your podcasts.